What is going on, Movie Mills? Movie Mills, this might, actually, before we get into any of that, pay your actors and pay your writers. Okay? Pay them. Pay them. Sounds like the writers are meeting in some meetings, actors, not so much. Pay them. Stop being tools. But anyway, this might be the last video for a little bit, even if we, at least for me, even if we see movies, because the big move across the country here will be happening a week from tomorrow. So this weekend's going to be crazy. That week's going to be crazy. But definitely go tune into the TikTok, because I think out of pure boredom, I'm going to be making some TikToks on that trip. I'll just tell Autumn, hold the phone and let me go nutty. So go check that out. Link in the description. Thank you, Kimberly and Karen, Moon Mill patrons. Go get some merch. Pay your actors, pay your writers. Seriously, pay your actors, pay your writers. I know a lot of people are talking about movies. We have decided we are going to continue to talk about movies because we don't get big media deals. And we want to at least support the people who are not the big studio heads and continue to talk about it. So, even if they offered a big deal, don't want it. Not they pay your actors.
We're good.
You pay your writers. Anyway, let's Talk to Me, this new Australian horror film. I knew nothing about it going in other than the headlines. A24's scariest movie ever, getting rave reviews. Excited to see it. A24's horror is very different than a lot of the horror I think some fans know. I went with a friend of mine to the movie who I've just recently been seeing movies with, and he likes horror, and we were kind of talking about the difference between like A24 horror and this type of horror. But anyway, let's get into it. Kyle, what were your positives of Talk to Me?
This one kind of was not very much on my radar. I heard about it, but I didn't know whether it would be up my alley or not, but I still was kind of interested. I took a shot at it, and I would say that it's great and that everyone else should take a shot at seeing this movie if you are a fan of horror or if you want to dabble in horror, and I think that this would be a really good option for you. I thought that this was a terrific example of how to direct horror well. I felt like the directors Danny Philippou and Michael Philippou, I apologize, I'm not familiar with their work. Apparently they were YouTubers before this. I just found that out, but really? I don't know how to pronounce their names. I just read that not too long ago. But I thought they did an excellent job behind the camera. I thought they did really well when it came to directing suspense and tension that gets underneath your skin. It's not to where it's a type of horror movie to where everything's jumping out and scaring at you and trying to get you that reaction. It's the unsettling type of horror, I would say. And I think it also plays really well into the core themes and the core plot of this movie, which is about a young girl who is just dealing with a lot and a lot of relatable stuff with a passing of a family member, with drama within her friend group and with an extended family of hers. And I just thought between the supernatural stuff that they were teasing at and they weren't explaining everything about necessarily, but it plays really well into the themes that this movie is delivering, and I think it's done very well through those pair of, I imagine they're brothers, but those two just really delivered a movie that just left me feeling a bit shaken afterwards. I mean, I'm already a wuss when it comes to horror movies to begin with, but okay, cool, so they are twins, but I would just say that this is a really great directorial debut, really great performance by the lead actress as well. I have her name here, Sophie Wilde. I thought she was terrific. I have not been familiar with her work either, but I'm excited to see more of her, hopefully. I hope this is a big standout performance and she gets a lot of recognition. And as well as the supporting cast was really great too. But really the core things I appreciated was a really great directorial debut to where they understood how to have imagery and suspense really play into making you afraid, but not the cliched aspects that we see from other types of horror movies. They pushed that to the side and focused on the story and imagery. So I thought that it was great and a very pleasant surprise.
I loved this movie. I think we have gone 3 movies back to back to back in a week 2 weeks that are all contenders for the best movie of the year. I think all of these are
Oh,
phenomenal. I think Talk to Me is
yeah.
one of. I am shocked to hear that the directors are two young kids who it sounds like they've been doing horror comedy on YouTube for a long time. Intense horror comedy is what I quickly was just reading. But to come out with something like this, I think this script is incredible. I think it's a phenomenal script. I think it's realistic at times. It has a weird take on like it felt real that if kids got the option to do what they do in the movie, that there would be a group of people that would do stuff like this because it's an out of
Yeah.
body experience. It's a drug, and it's
Yeah.
oh man, I loved it. The performances are so freaking phenomenal. Obviously, the Sophia, is that her name? Sophia, I believe.
Sophie, I
Yep,
believe.
Sophie.
Hmm.
Sophie Wilde, I think, is a huge standout, as well as Alexandra Jensen. And I thought the brother. Why can't I'm trying to find the actor's name right now, real quick.
I can find it for
Um,
you.
Jaden Davidson was
Mm.
amazing. At one point, I was like, this kid could go far. I mean, he was doing stuff that it was like, oh, like this is a kid. Like, what the heck? All the
Hmm.
performances were great. All the kids were so freaking good. The direction was phenomenal. I thought the story itself and the writing was so freaking good. I think it delivers more scares on a Conjuring than I've seen in most A24 movies. I think Hereditary
Oh.
does that a little well, but I do think it delivers scares more than just psychological. There are some good moments of jump scares. There are some good moments of like this, whoa, you're freaking out, and there's moments of don't do that. What are you doing? There's moments of like, what did I just witness? I've been sitting and thinking about like the ending and all this stuff, and I adored this movie for a directorial debut. Ah, man, I think this is amazing. I hope A24 greenlights whatever movie they have next. Um, go let Jordan Peele produce your movies from now on. I'd love to see all these horror minds
That'd be
combine
sick.
to make something. I'd love to see Sophie in a Jordan Peele movie. Um, this movie's phenomenal. It legitimately is one of the best movies of the year. I think it's starting to feel like it is maybe it's recency bias, but it's starting to feel like it is now a widening gap for the last three movies I've seen compared to everything else this year.
All
Uh,
right.
I mean, Oppenheimer, Barbie, and Talk to Me. I gave all 4.5 stars on Letterbox. Barbie started at
We
4, but the more I've thought about Barbie, the better I think Barbie just really is.
we will not forget about Mission Impossible. Do not do this to me.
Mission Impossible is amazing too, but I really think I liked all three of these movies better.
Yeah. Yeah.
What were your negatives? You got any negatives other than the fact that you hated it?
Other than the fact that I hated it, I will say I wish the music kind of packed a bit
Oh,
more
I
of a punch to it.
loved the music.
Did you? Okay, well, for some reason it just didn't grab me and added to like the sinking despair feeling that I was feeling. I thought it was more so to do with the direction and the cinematography rather than the score, the soundtrack was really helping with that. But really, that's just the only complaint that I would have. But clearly, Alex thinks otherwise, so maybe
Actually,
other people will be totally fine with it. So
I think, I think in terms of soundtrack, I really liked it. I liked a lot of the hip hop they used at times and some of the songs they used at times. But in terms of
sure.
score, now that you're talking and I'm listening to you, I'm just thinking back to the movie, and I don't really remember a memorable score moment, but I do remember moments I liked a lot with the soundtrack. So I think I'd probably agree with you on that point. I think the soundtrack could have been maybe a bit better. But the score could have been a bit better, but for a first movie, I mean, you're not going to be pulling any John Williams. So,
No, I suppose not. But
curious
still, a
who
really great debut by these guys. I'm gonna be very curious by
what
their
they do
career moving
next.
forward, and I'll probably look at their YouTube page as well. I don't know if they do anything lately, but maybe I'll see how far they've come or what they've learned, and just see what they're all about. So, yeah, just a really great pleasant surprise for the summer. And if you are into horror and want to get to be a fan of horror, I would say give this one a shot. This was a really good.
I don't
This was a really good movie.
I don't even see composer on here, so I'm guessing they didn't even have one. They only had the music they had was that they could use, is what it's
Could
looking
explain
like,
it.
which makes sense. But I agree. If you're a fan of horror or if you're really interested in suspense, I think this would be a great movie to go check out. But to be honest, it's just a great movie. Get over your fear of horror. Kyle and I have done it. So go check it out. Guys, what'd you
Through
think? Comment below, let us
tears.
know, like, subscribe, and share. Thank you to the Mill patrons. And go pay your actors and go pay your writers right now. I'm talking to you, Big Bob, and all you big studio heads. Like, look at all this money I have. Look, everybody just needs to be poor. I need to be richer. Shut up. Get out of here. Nobody likes you. All right. Thanks for watching, Mom.
See you guys.